Let's do some Ask Spilo, guys. We're gonna do some Ask Spilo, and then we're gonna wrap things up. You nading tanks that often is a bad thing? No. If your tanks are low, and you need to nade them, that's fine. But you weren't trying to do that. You just saw clumps and just throwing nades. If you want to nade the enemy tanks, that's also really good. I just want you to actually aim your nades, that's all. You're not aiming your nades. It's not even like you have bad mechanics. Why are we talking about my butt cheeks?
Wait, what? Can I join in?
No, you cannot join in.
Sweet.
Like, you just need to aim for specific locations. Every nade you didn't know, I was aiming for your tanks. Okay, so you're nading your tanks to keep them up? Oh, okay. I mean, if they're gonna be taking a lot of burst damage, sure. But okay. If that was the case, and they're still bad nades because your tanks weren't critical or anywhere close to danger. You get more consistent value out of nading enemies. Like nading your tanks is fine if they really need the healing. Otherwise, it's not really worth, right? You get more value more pressure out of nading enemies than nading your team, unless your team is critical. I think I can say that with general confidence. Yeah, we've been finally fat. Yeesh. Seriously, where did my butt conversation come from? Seriously. Let her join in the conversation? Who?
Me.
Beth?
Wow, right does barrel name now.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Whoops.
Would you say the rough split between nade team and nade enemies is? I wouldn't say anything. I think you just need to figure that out yourself. I just say right now, if every single time in this review I was asking you who are you nading, why are you nading, you were like purposely trying to nade your Roadhog to keep him up, then yes, that is a mistake. No, you're not. No, you're not. All right. I mean, if there's actual motivation for it, like if there's actual motivation to keep them up because they're critical, they're gonna die, sure. But like a lot of times their nades, there was like they weren't keeping your Reinhardt up, like it wasn't needed. Yes, when you're using your brain, your positioning was very good. Yeah, I would go so far to say like keep working on that because that was actually pretty good. That and maybe your nanos. Nade null, yeah, I would agree. Okay, ask Spilo, boys. Ask Spilo. Okay, we're gonna get into Ask Spilo here. Ask Spilo! Yeah! Oh my gosh, there's a lot of questions. Oh, bless.
Intro music for Ask Spilo?
What?
Why don't you have intro music for Ask Spilo?
Oh, Ask Spilo! That's what you guys are saying. Oh, can you plug in my laptop? I didn't understand where that came from.
Can I just say, your computer is like blowing flames of heat.
Wait, really?
No, it's just hot.
Yeah, you're welcome, Baggins. All right, questions. It's just hot like me.
Also, do you want food?
Huh?
Do you want food? Especially the kind you can break down
Yeah, not right now. I'll be done this thing.
Oh, man.
Haha, idiot. Okay. When playing Anash, do I have to respect Ash's angles as much as Widow and Hanzo, or is it more like a McCree not forced to say either Ellis? I mean, you know the answer. It's somewhere in between. Like, yes, she's probably not, or no, she's probably not going to one-shot you, but she could do a lot of damage, so be careful. I mean, it's not that complicated. Is there a reason he's up in this high ground? All right, well, let's look. Where is Jaehong? 11:41. Why'd you timestamp it and send it to me another timestamp? Why is he up here is the question. Okay, well here's why he's up here. Anybody in chat tell me why is Ryu Jaehong playing up here and not on the back right of point? Well, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So like if I were to draw like bottom right down there towards their spawn door, why is Ryu Jaehong not playing up there? I can think of two reasons. You solve this. You answer this question. Protection from Hanzo. Yeah, he's going to get sonicked on that back right, and he's going to have to sit and spawn. Second reason why. Double shield May wall, yeah, pretty much. If May walls, if like I will play it for a second. If May walls right here and rushes them, he has no LOS in his Ting's Die. Yep. Now he will back off towards the staircase and maybe even drop towards point. And this is an awkward spot for Ana to be, but if you're going to be playing Ana in this meta, you have to play here. If you're going to get Hanzo shot or May walled off. Now, again, depends on the circumstances. This is some pretty high level stuff. So, oops. Oh, you did timestamp it. 5:54. Is there is double shield anything to do with why he's holding further up than usual? Yes, it is. 100%. That and the fact that they are also running, what are they running? Doomfist, so they're wanting to commit on this choke a lot harder. So he could be there and commit like nade and stuff and not get punished. Like watch, he's gonna go forward for like a flank nade, I guarantee you. They're still not pushing choke. Okay. There's a nice sleep. They're just stuffing choke. That's all they're doing. Stuffing choke, stuffing choke, stuffing choke, stuffing choke. If you're stuffing choke, there's no reason to play further back. Like you're not in any danger at all. It's not like your team's gonna kite back and you're gonna get spammed. Like you're just stuffing choke. Okay. What really sets apart the top of the line pros from average players? Is it possible for an average player gold plat become good enough to climb from the pro? I mean, yeah. What sets them apart is they like the game a lot better than you do, probably, and have a lot more time to work at it. Like the number one thing that separates bad players or players at like gold, plat, and pros is the amount of time that they spend in the game and the amount of time that they spend, quality time they spend in the game. Like how much focus do they put in their training. And how much, and ultimately to achieve that level of focus, you have to want to do it, right? You have to be motivated to do it. For example, if you were to try and tell me that, okay, you're going to be coaching, I don't know, what is a sport that I would really not have interest in? Okay, you are going to be coaching cricket, right? And and 1 year you have to become the best cricket coach. Man, I would struggle because I don't really care about cricket that much. I don't know much about cricket. Man, maybe cricket turns out to be a game I really love, but that's just going to be luck, right? It's really hard to take a gold plat player and turn them pro unless they really, really want to.
You need this. There's
nothing inherently different about a gold plat player and a pro player in terms of their mental, right? In terms of like, if you separate Overwatch, there's nothing, I mean, sometimes the gold plat players might even be more mature, might even be smarter people, but the pros they just work harder. They want it more, right? And something else you have to understand is that you can't be good at everything. This is something I always say, but like, you can't be a top 500 Overwatch player and a world-class guitarist at the same time. And even if that was possible, then you wouldn't have a lot of free time. Or you wouldn't be able to pick up a third hobby, let's say, right? Like these they don't work, right? I couldn't be a great Overwatch coach and be be like a swimmer, right? Or compete in swimming, right? I mean, I do a lot of working out and stuff like that. And I don't work out. Like I only work out like 45 minutes a day. I don't work out as much as some people do.
That's why I'm still stuck in gold.
Because there's other things that I would rather do instead than work out all day long. So like, anyway, so it's like, what does it take to get there? I mean, time and commitment and smart training, like setting goals, setting structure, one step at a time. I'm not going to go into the details of that because there's a million videos and great books on that. But like just desire. Ultimately, you'll find the way if you want it bad enough. But there's no real shortcuts. Like there's nothing like gold plat players are dumb, pros are smart. It's only in the game of Overwatch. There's a lot of pros I know that are dumb as rocks, but they just got there because they just grinded hard enough. Any advice getting into coaching? Again, first step is always wanting to be a coach. If you really want to be a coach, you'll find a way to get into coaching. And then the second step is to set your expectations really low and be patient. Because getting into coaching was awful when it came to Overwatch. You're literally an unpaid volunteer. So you have no authority. And so all the great coaching books that you read about, like taking leadership and setting a squad and making goals and setting guidelines, this stuff literally just goes into the dumpster, at least for the first several teams you coach. I mean, you guys have heard me talk about chicken contendies and stuff like that, but like, if you try and go in there and act like you're the boss and like, I know what's best, even if you do know what's best, it doesn't matter. You have a bunch of 15 and 16-year-old kids with the social graces of a dead bug, right? And they have, no experience generally working with coaches, so trying to go in there and set structure and do things the right way without like easing into it is like shooting yourself in the foot. It doesn't work. And if you're not really patient and if you don't really love it, you're gonna hate it and you're gonna be miserable and not want to do it anymore. Because there were times with chicken continues where I literally just wanted to quit coaching. I was so upset. And this is coming from somebody who I've been a professional coach for 10 years, a teacher or a coach for 10 years. So, I mean, it's not fun for all the time. How do I improve your mentality and become more of a leader and more confident? So this probably is directly tied to this one. Become a leader and more confident. So if you mean confidence comes through like, number one, like putting in the time and effort. So confidence comes from, I know I'm a good player of Overwatch because I've spent a lot of time into it. For example, I know how I'm confident that I can walk. Why? Because I've spent so much time walking that there's no way I'm going to choke on walking, right? Now, I'm not getting into like game set or performance mentality. I'm just focusing on like, okay, confidence that I know how to do something just comes from time and effort, right? So that would say the first thing is like confidence if it comes to like you're asserting yourself. I'm not a psychologist, brother. Like this is way out of my league. You need to work on your own and do your own research on this. But in terms of more of a leader, number one aspect for a leader in Overwatch is just wanting to make your team do better, right? And helping like assist your team to do better. So like even with a team like Chicken Continues, which is like super toxic and super like dystopian, for lack of a better term, I was able to provide a decent amount of leadership just by like, all right, we don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna argue and like fight and try and. But I would be like, all right, guys, hey, let's solve this. Let's find a solution and let's do it together, right? So like, even though I didn't necessarily always have all the answers, I always helped assist or guide my team towards finding an answer and working together as a team. So like, if you want to be more of a leader, just make sure that people have a direction, people have a solution. If you're playing in a team and the team is fighting, be like, hey guys, hey, listen. Like, we know better than that. Like, what do we think is going to be the best situation? Like, how can we compromise here, right? And again, this is just like, I can't answer this in just like a second it's like asked by. This is a massive question that we'd have to talk a lot about. And yeah. If I'm playing Ana and we win a fight in defense, do I give up my high ground position and move up with the rest of my team if they're out of LOS? Yes, you do. You can always have time to reset, but punish staggers first and never let your team play outside of your LOS. Thoughts on Hero Pool and Pro and Ladder? I think Hero Pool and Ladder is stupid. I think Hero Pool and Pro is okay if they like seriously up the rotations. So like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks maybe. Maybe not 4 weeks. And I would be against Hero Pools if I had confidence that the balance team would be making more aggressive and faster balance changes. So Jeff said that they're going to be doing more aggressive balancing, but we haven't seen that yet. So I'm a little disillusioned, honestly, because that was something that was specifically said, like we're going to be doing aggressive balancing and hero pools, and so far we've only seen hero pools and really very passive balancing. So I'm not really sure what the reasoning behind that is. Either way, hero pools, I think, are a necessary evil until the balance team actually decides to make changes faster than once every 6 months. Because otherwise, metas are going to stick. They are going to get bottom heavy. The sunk cost and spending time and improving a comp. Like if the last 3 or 4 months of balance changes continues, then you would have a stuck meta for 4, 5, 6 months, and nobody wants to see that again. Again, the problem is not having a meta. The problem is having a meta that lasts for 6 months. And that will continue to happen until the Overwatch balance team decides to get their butts in gear. So I don't know what the deal is behind the scenes. I'm not going to speak on that, but I'm just answering the question as honestly as I can. And 2CP attack, do you guys stay in spawn, don't commit hard until the 50-second mark to see what the enemy has? You play passive. You don't stay in spawn, but we roll out on the comp that we're probably going to play and play passive. And then if we need to make swaps, we make swaps. But generally, very rarely does the entire team stay in the comp spawn, because generally very rarely does the entire team swap. Any Genji tips on building Zarya? General tips on building Zarya graph quickly. I mean, preserve your life, maintain charge, and press up to do lots of right clicks early. How do coaches such as yourself gain such high level knowledge and say the game without climbing ranks? Do you only analyze and Overwatch and better play? I mean, I climbed the GM solo queue, but that really didn't affect anything to do with my understanding of the game. Just studying the game, analyze Overwatch, watch other VOD reviews. I've spent a lot of time coaching teams, so I've been coaching Overwatch teams for almost, a year and a half now. So Like before then, a lot of my knowledge was mostly just from VOD reviews and just from playing the game the little bit, the decent amount. I mean, because I played the game a decent amount. But then after that, it's been basically just from coaching teams. All of my knowledge has been and theory crafting and stuff like that. But if you want to, like, it just time, same as anything. VOD reviews, studying OWL, and then whatever else from playing the game. I don't play the game very much right now. So how do coaches gain? Oops, I already answered that. Some people say that within GMs. Whoops. Some people say that within GM, some increment range of SR is a different rank. Do you have thoughts different? S range different? I mean, it's just statistics, right? Like, if you look at a bell curve here, to go from, like, if you're plat to, like, there's the median, right? Okay, so like, let's do this. Okay, so if the bell curve looks like this, right? Right? To travel from here, from 4,200 to 4,400, right? Right? Like something like that. The number of games that you have to win to get there, it's not like you get 25 SR per win, right? Which would mean, oh, you only have to win like 8 games. You're getting like 8 SR per win or 10 SR per win. So the number of games that you have to win to climb at higher ranks is significantly higher. It's not just performance-based SR, it kicks in even harder afterwards. So when you see players that hit like 4.6, you're not talking about players that played like 15 games and climbed from 4.4 to 4.6. You're talking about players that played 100 games or maybe 200 games or 300 games to climb 200 SR. I mean, there are times where like people will go like play 100 hours and still only climb 100 SR in a season, just because it's so much harder to win SR at the higher ranks. So yes, when you're climbing to the higher ranks, 4.2 to 4.4, very big difference. You can tell, like, and we've trialed players a lot of times with many different teams that I've played with or coached. And you can tell the difference between a player that's 4.4 and 4.6. Big difference mechanically. Big difference. And just general knowledge. You can even tell players that have not hit 4.6. Like, I'll always be like, this player is like looks pretty smart. Maybe like they know the game pretty well, but they're not like super impressive mechanically, and they look a little clunky. Generally 4.5. Almost never will they be 4.6. And then like mechanical nuts at like high 4.6, they're almost always spectacular mechanically, or really smart. I mean, why would I? What would SR range? I don't know. I mean, that there's a reason why top 500 is a thing. The higher you are in the top 500 ladder, the better you are. That's just pretty much all there is to it. Like the SR bracket within GM is just the top 500 bracket. That's all. Like top 100, top 50. Yeah. Hey, shut up, Kron. Nobody cares what you think. Okay, so the SR is still okay. So even then, 4.2 to 4.4 still a decent gap, but 4.4 to 4.6 is really really high. This is a massive gap. This is like the equivalent of like a 400 SR gap, I would say, if not more. Yeah, it's insane. But yeah, if you don't really get considered for like top tier contenders teams if you're not 4.6k peak. What a player with no experience with her should do about organizing environment for joining a team. Just know that scrims are a thing, and that sometimes expect disappointment, but also expect fun. You have any advice for new players who are willing to grind the competitive scene? How do I become the best teammate I could be? I mean, honestly, the best thing I can tell you to do is number one, just get into it and see how you like it. And then if that's something that you really want to spend your time on, then sure. But then also, you want to be the best teammate that you can be. Just ask your teammates, what can you be doing better? Hey, what can I be doing better? What can I be doing better? Like, ask for feedback from your teammates or from if you have a coach. Like, what can I be doing better? That's the best way. Like, ask this question to your teammates and your coaches. Don't ask me. Because it depends on the person. Maybe you're super toxic, right? Maybe you're incompetent with your positioning. Maybe you waste your ultimate. Maybe you're really annoying during VOD reviews, right?
Maybe you're just completely incompetent.
Maybe you're completely incompetent, right? Krondop would do a lot about that. But like ultimately, you need to ask them, not me, because I don't know you. Why is Doggo on your team if people have to be a 4.6k peak? Who? What kind of players are in the highest demand on the pro scene? Main tank players, like DPS players, defense. Right now, I'm not going to speak about the Overwatch League scene because I don't know a lot about that. But tier 2, I would say Really good main supports. Main supports and flexible hit scans, probably, or flexible flex DPS players. Somewhere probably the top two, I would think. Because like right now the main support scene is like garbage right now. And the way hero bans are working is you want a flex DPS that can play like a Sombra or Tracer competently. Or if you're a hit scan player, you need to be able to play, Widow and Tracer, Widow and Sombra. You cannot just be a McCree Widow 2-trick. So that's kind of a problem with some hit scan players right now. People with really good shot calling, I mean, that's always helpful. Tanks are always like in high demand. Good main tanks are always in high demand, but there's a decent number of decent main tanks right now. Off tank isn't great right now. I'll say that. Off tank is probably the worst position for tank right now. Off tank is pretty skinny right now. Good off tank anyway. Flexible off tank. There's a lot of Sig 1 tricks. A lot of players that can't play Zarya worth a toot. What are thoughts on Get Quaked on? Don't know. Don't know. I will look up Get Quaked on. Get Quaked on. Doomfist God. Alright. Sure, he's fine. It's GM Doomfist. Who is this guy? I don't know. Is he just like a rollout dude? I mean, that's fine. Like, Doomfist rollouts, if this is like what this guy does, are fine. They're just not consistently useful. Like, doing like crazy rollouts and knowing a ton of like everything about map architecture is really helpful, but it's like diminishing returns. Like, once you know a lot about map architecture, knowing 5% more is not going to help you that much. Being better with your cooldown usage and decision making is going to be more important at that point. So like, if all this guy does is rollouts like this, like that's helpful, but knowing like this spot isn't going to win you 50 SR or make you that much better of a Doomfist player. Somebody like Tap, who plays with Uprising Academy, knows most of this stuff. Maybe not as much as this guy, but knows almost all of it. And he's just a better Doomfist player because his mechanics are better, his decision making is better. So it's like, I think it's a great Doom, but if you want to be a great Doomfist, watching only this guy probably wouldn't be. I mean, it would help, but yeah. But I can't really say. Do you see any comp in the nearest future where Zen is actually viable? No, Zen is amazing. Zen is amazing right now. Brig Zen is really, really strong. Bap Zen is really, really strong. Yeah, Zen is good. Zen is good. Zen is fine. Like, the only problem that Zen was not very good is that he doesn't have Brig. If he doesn't have Brig, he's kind of problematic. But Bapson is still okay. Even then, Bapson is still fine. On maps where like spam is good. What kind of comp would I run Brig in? Briggs in. Briggs in dive. Or Briggs in spam with like Tracer. That's basically all that we play. As Ryan, do you want to hold Hanamura point A check point from the right side or a bit further from the left side? Depends. If you're hard holding, I generally like holding a little bit further back on the left side because it gives you space to kind of crash in and you don't get like isolated. But the problem with the right side, so like if this is the Hanamura choke and like there's like the little room in here you can go in, there's like the mini health back. Holding here is fine. Holding here is also fine. But the problem with holding here is that people can go up on top of the window and shoot you in the back, and then you have to kite across to the other side. Whereas if you hold here, you can't be shot in the back, and you can still commit really hard. If a Ryan friend who's weak versus on an 8 and sleep, is to focus on Ryan versus Ryan. If honestly seeming to lose a fight, how do you get better on versus Ryan? Well, you have to understand that the Ryan versus Ryan, unless he has Shatter, is really easy. Like, you just swing until you don't have HP, and then you don't swing anymore. Like, that's it. You can kite bubbles and stuff like that, and there's like advanced stuff, but it's like basically super, super niche. So like you need to tell him like Ryan versus Ryan only matters when he has Shatter. Like the Ryan versus Ryan is really Ryan versus the CC. So if he's focusing, if he's focusing on the Ryan versus Ryan, what is he focusing? I'm gonna swing my hammer again now. Like they just smack each other with hammers. It really matters what happens behind the scenes and what you can stop against that. So if that's what he's thinking, then his mentality is wrong. Ana versus Slanger is better seeing your team and stay further back near the health pack. I mean, both if you can. Like, if you can have a buddy but you don't want to be on top of the tanks, that's obviously a minus. If you can play near your health pack and relatively near like another support, another DPS, maybe you're off tank, then that's the best case scenario. But yeah, definitely don't stay on top of your tanks if you can. Avoid it. As Echo, how do you decide who to copy? Whoever's mobile. Whoever's mobile or can get away with playing extremely aggressive. How would you say one proceed if you want to maximize quality practice. Describe how it regards to main support is any different. Quality practice is just like setting goals for yourself and working on those goals during practice. It's no different from any other role. But main support, maybe you include ult tracking as like one of your goals, but like it's no different. Just set goals, achieve those goals, and give yourself feedback. Is it true that you have to play according to SR rank and can't really emulate Alpros and lower ranks? I mean, it's true and false. So like it's true in the fact that you can't just say, oh, Jonak plays here, I'm going to play here. You need to like sit there, like think about what we just reviewed. Whereas Rouge Hong holding top left, why you need to ask yourself, why is Rouge Hong holding top left, and then like decide if that ever applies to you in a comp game. Like why does Jonak nano then and not later? But it's also false saying that like you need to just play like a plat to climb out of plat. You just play, get good. Like there's a certain chunk of like, I would say I might play 10% different or 20% different if I'm playing in plat versus when I'm playing in masters, right? Very little difference, right? I mean, I might play a little bit more aggressive in plat because I quote unquote want to carry harder because I know, but that's only because I know I'm better than the plats. If you're a plat on and you want to climb, don't try and carry, just play smart, do your job, right? So I wouldn't even say that's the case. It's just about being good. Like if a GM on a plays in plat, he's not going to carry by just like clutching. He's going to carry by having good positioning and having good cooldown usage. Same thing as he'd win a game in masters or a GM or bronze. So like playing according to your rank is something that people think way too much about instead of just fixing your mistakes. Don't worry about this stuff. This is irrelevant. Just fix your mistakes. How do I play Overwatch? Uninstall, idiot. Why do people copy Brig as an echo to engage even if the enemy has a Rein? Because if you can stay alive as Brig for 2 seconds, you're going to build a rally, which is, like, as we said, the strongest support ult in the game. So Brig is a gamble, but if it pays off, it's really strong.